Joining me now, Larry Kudlow, former White House economic advisor. Larry, explain what you mean by that.
Well, look, you know, at the root of this whole infrastructure plan, which is really not about infrastructure, it's kind of a Trojan horse for the Green New Deal and a tax attack on American corporations and a gigantic buildup of the welfare state with no work requirements. But the ideology here is to enable Washington bureaucrats and central planners to have the power in our economy and to seek the demise of private companies in free enterprise, private economy. There's no question when President Biden talked about a new paradigm, he's talking about a welfarist paradigm. He's talking about diminishing the private economy and the free enterprise and enabling these central planners. It's a socialist model. He wants to out-New Deal the New Deal. The trouble with the New Deal was, Laura, at the end of 8 or 9 years, the unemployment rate was still 19%. So we should remember that. So much for the welfare state, and ditto for the Great Society. But that's where President Biden is going, and it is going to have grave consequences, not only for the way this country is run, but also the economy itself, which with the opening, the vaccines and the reopening is booming. But this attack on companies large and small will stop that. Next year could be a much, much weaker year, and the year after that much worse. So it's a tragedy. Tragedy. Wrong direction. Absolutely.
Biden never wastes an opportunity, Larry, to attack former President Trump or his policies. He did this again today. Watch.
Congress passed a tax cut of $2 trillion, increasing the national debt $2 trillion. It didn't meet virtually any of the predictions it would in terms of growing the economy. Overwhelmingly, the benefits of that tax package went to the wealthiest Americans. It was bad for American competitiveness, deeply unfair to the middle-class families, and wrong for our future.
Larry, is any of this true?
No, there's not a single factoid in that statement. The tax cuts were the biggest benefits. The increase in middle-income wages and family income and blue-collar workers, and the increase in lower middle income. In fact, Laura, it's the bottom 25 percentile of the income scale that absolutely did the best, not the top. In terms of wealth and wages and incomes, they did the best. The best performance probably since the year 2000. Now, look, President Trump issued a statement today. I just want to read it because he hits on a main factor here. President Trump says that Biden's radical plan to implement the largest tax hike in American history is a massive giveaway to China. Now, what President Trump is saying here is that raising our corporate tax rate to 28% from 21, and you got to add 5 points from the states, that's 33. China is 25%. We're also slapping on a 21% minimum tax for overseas income, a 15% minimum tax here at home, and a doubling of the capital gains tax, where the integration of the corporate tax actually would raise it to almost 70%. So what do you have? You have a war against investment, which means a war against new business starts and technology advances, a war against productivity, and a war against wages for the middle-income people. Mind you, you like to have good, solid wages. But in order to have good, solid wages, you have to have a successful business. And this plan is going to tax successful businesses to death. It punishes success, not rewards it. And it's just the absolute wrong direction. Trump had it right. China is going to be a beneficiary. And competitors of our overseas are going to be. Money's going to flow
100%.
out of the U.S. Factories and jobs will flow out of the U.S.
Who's going to
exactly
visit? Larry, who's going to... Larry, a friend of mine tonight said, who the heck is going to invest in the United States with this tax regime in place? And then you got millions of people pouring across our border, which is going to lower wages for the entry-level workers, especially hurt minority workers in the country. So that's happening at the same time. This is an unmitigated disaster, this bill. Complete disaster.
Yeah, I think it's going to really do damage to the economy if it passes. I don't know if it passes, but it might pass. 51-vote reconciliation. You know, Laura, from the very beginning, this so-called infrastructure, that word is very popular. It's a Trojan horse.
Phony.
A Trojan horse to reverse the Trump tax cuts, a Trojan horse to put in the Green New Deal, and a Trojan horse for a remarkable expansion of the welfare state with no work requirements.
Yeah,
this is an ideological battle from the far, far left.
All right, Larry, we got to roll. Thank you so much.